Part 1. The day it burned in the sky. What if a flying giant suddenly turned into fire in front of everyone? In 1937, the Hindenburg was one of the most impressive machines in the world. A giant airship, floating through the sky. Slow, silent, elegant. It looked like the future. People did not just travel in it, they experienced it. Inside there were rooms, beds, dining areas, even a place to relax and enjoy the view. This was not a simple flight. This was luxury in the sky, and people trusted it. They believed it was safe, strong, reliable. But history has shown something again and again. The things people trust the most can sometimes fail the fastest. On May 6, 1937, the Hindenburg was arriving in the United States. After crossing the Atlantic Ocean, it was preparing to land in New Jersey. Passengers were ready. Crew members were focused. People on the ground were watching. Cameras were recording. Everything looked normal. Everything looked calm. And that is what makes this story shocking, because in just a few seconds, everything would change. A small moment, a small spark, and then fire. Not a slow fire. Not something people could escape from easily. A sudden explosion of flames in the sky. The giant airship became a burning structure, high above the ground, in full view of everyone. People screamed. Some tried to escape. Some jumped. Some froze in fear. And all of it happened incredibly fast. The Hindenburg did not slowly fail. It was destroyed in less than a minute. That is why the disaster shocked the world. Because something so big, so advanced, so trusted, was gone almost instantly. But what really happened that day? Why did it catch fire? And why did it burn so quickly? To understand that, we need to go back to a time when airships ruled the sky, and when people believed this was the future of travel. Part 2. The Age of Giants in the Sky. Before airplanes became common, the sky belonged to giants. Airships, huge, slow, floating like clouds. People looked up and felt amazed. This was the future. At that time, flying in an airplane was not easy. It was noisy, uncomfortable, and sometimes dangerous. But airships were different. They were smooth, quiet, almost peaceful. You did not feel like you were flying fast. You felt like you were floating, and that made them special. Germany became a leader in this technology. They built some of the largest airships in history, and the Hindenburg was the most famous of all. It was enormous, more than 240 meters long, almost as long as a modern skyscraper is tall. Inside, it was designed for comfort. Passengers could walk around. They could eat in a dining room. They could sleep in real beds. They could look out the windows and see the world below. This was not just transportation. This was an experience. For rich passengers, it was luxury. For others, it was wonder. And for the world, it was a symbol of progress, a symbol of human achievement, a symbol that said, we can conquer the sky. But behind this beauty, there was a hidden danger. The Hindenburg was filled with hydrogen gas. Hydrogen made the airship light. It helped it float. But hydrogen is also extremely flammable. That means it can burn very easily. One spark is enough. Some engineers knew this risk. Some countries tried to use safer gas, like helium. But helium was not available to Germany at that time. So they continued with hydrogen. And for a while, everything worked. Flights were successful. Passengers arrived safely. Confidence grew. People trusted the airship more and more. And when something works again and again, people stop thinking about the danger. That is how risk becomes invisible. That is how confidence becomes dangerous. Because when the Hindenburg began its final journey, everything looked perfect. The sky was open. The passengers were calm. The crew was experienced. Nothing seemed wrong. But sometime, the biggest disasters begin on the most normal days. And this day was about to become unforgettable. Part 3, the final approach. The Hindenburg was almost there. After crossing the Atlantic Ocean, it reached the United States, its destination, New Jersey. The landing field was ready. Crew members on the ground were waiting. Cameras were prepared. People were watching. This was not just another landing. It was an event. But something was not right. The weather had changed. Storms were nearby. Rain, wind, unstable air. The captain decided to wait. The airship did not land immediately. Instead, it circled above the area. Waiting, watching. Time passed. Passengers looked out the windows. Some felt excited. Some felt tired. Some just wanted the journey to end. Inside, everything still felt calm. But outside, conditions were changing. The sky was heavy. The air felt tense. And then finally, the order came. Prepare to land. The crew moved into position. Ropes were made ready. Men on the ground stood waiting to catch them. The Hindenburg slowly descended. Closer, lower, quiet, controlled. From the outside, it looked perfect, elegant, smooth, like nothing could go wrong. People on the ground watched in silence. Some were recording, some were smiling. Some had no idea. They were about to witness one of the most shocking moments in history. Then something small happened, something almost invisible. A tiny moment, a tiny spark. And in that second, everything changed. Part 4, the fire in the sky. Then it happened. A flash, small, almost invisible. And then, fire. It started at the back of the airship. A sudden burst of flames. Bright, violent, unstoppable. In seconds, the fire spread. Fast. Too fast. The hydrogen inside the Hindenburg ignited, and the entire airship became a burning structure in the sky. Passengers felt the heat immediately. Crew members reacted, but there was no time. No time to think. No time to understand. Only seconds. People screamed. Some ran. Some froze. Some tried to find a way out. The airship was still above the ground. Not high, but not safe. Flames moved across the surface like a wave. Metal burned. Fabric disappeared. The giant structure began to collapse. From the outside, it looked unreal. Like a nightmare. A flying machine turning into fire. Right in front of everyone. Cameras kept recording. Voices shouted. People on the ground watched in shock. They could not believe what they were seeing. Inside, the situation was desperate. Some passengers jumped. They had no choice. Better to risk the fall than stay in the fire. Others tried to reach exits. But everything was happening too quickly. The Hindenburg was no longer a machine. It was a trap. A burning trap in the sky. And in less than a minute, the giant airship was falling. Part 5, Escape or Death. The airship was falling, burning, breaking apart in the sky, and inside, people had seconds to decide, stay or jump. Some passengers did not wait. They ran to the edges. They looked down. The ground was coming closer, fast, too fast, and still, they jumped. Some survived the fall, some did not. It was a desperate choice, fire or impact. Inside the Hindenburg, the heat was unbearable. Smoke filled the air. People could not see clearly. They could not breathe. Crew members tried to help. They shouted directions. They tried to guide passengers. But everything was chaos. Flames moved everywhere. The structure was collapsing. Floors were tilting. Walls were breaking. Every second mattered. Some found a way out. Some were pulled to safety from the ground. Some escaped through windows. Some were carried away from the fire. But many could not escape. The disaster was too fast, too sudden, too powerful. In less than a minute, it was almost over. The giant airship that once ruled the sky was now a burning wreck on the ground. Smoke rose into the air. The fire slowly faded, and silence followed. People stood in shock. They looked at what remained. They tried to understand what had just happened. Something so large, so advanced, so trusted, gone in seconds. Lives were lost. Families were broken. And the world was watching. Because this was not just an accident. It was a moment that changed how people saw the future. And what remained now was one final question. Why did it happen? Part 6. Why it happened and why it changed everything. The fire was over, but the questions remained. How could something so advanced be destroyed so quickly? Experts studied the disaster. They looked at the evidence. They listened to witnesses. And one idea became the most accepted. Hydrogen. The Hindenburg was filled with it. A gas that makes things float, but also a gas that burns very easily. All it needed was a spark. Some believe static electricity caused it. Others believe a small leak of hydrogen met a spark in the air. We may never know the exact moment, but we understand one thing clearly. The airship was extremely vulnerable, and once the fire started, there was no stopping it. The disaster changed everything. People lost trust in airships. They no longer felt safe. They no longer believed in this future. Very quickly, the age of giant airships came to an end. Airplanes took their place. Faster, stronger, more practical, and the sky changed forever. The Hindenburg disaster was not just about fire. It was about trust, about how quickly confidence can disappear. One moment, people believed they were safe. The next moment, everything was gone. Today, we still remember that image. A giant airship in flames, falling from the sky. Because it reminds us of something important. Even the most beautiful ideas can fail. And sometimes, it only takes a few seconds. If you want to learn more powerful stories while improving your English, watch the next video on Spin a Yarn English.
Thanks! Please subscribe and like. Spin a new yarn with us every week. See you there!